now listening to the Zay Moore podcast.
I want to know what Zay thinks
There's a
about
few
that.
things that we got to address.
Black people got the swag. Black people set the trends. We are the culture. We got a reality star for our president. It's insane. Even if they try to erase black history out of schools, it's not going to erase black history. Because we've been here. Kendrick Lamar definitely beat Drake in that battle. Hands down. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep it real with my people. Because if we don't keep it real with each other, who will?
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only Zay Moore, and I want to welcome you back to a brand new episode of the Zay Moore podcast. Yeah, today is Sunday, August 10th, and we have some things to unpack. Today's episode is going to be more of a week recap. A lot went on this week that I wanted to discuss with you guys, but I've been under the weather. I still am under the weather, but I definitely missed y'all, missed the mic, so I wanted to come and deliver some news. We're going to be going over a few topics, including South Park's latest episode, making fun of Director of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. The shit was hilarious. It was just hilarious. And there was a lot of undertones in the episode, as always there is when it comes to South Park. So we're going to discuss that episode. We're also going to get into a suspect who was arrested in Ohio for wanting to murder 30,000 black people. He wanted to clear the streets, y'all, of 30,000 of my people. Scary. We're going to get into it. We're going to unpack it. We also are going to get into the Jimelita Tillman lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. She dropped it. We're going to unpack it and find out why. And there's a few other things that I have in store for today's episode. So let me know y'all are with me. Let me know that me coming in to work today was worth it. Let me get a clap. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. So let's get into the first story, y'all. Suspect 30-year-old Scott Michael Hanna, a resident of Dayton, Ohio, was arrested and prosecuted under federal law for making interstate communications with a threat to injure, stemming from a social media post on X, formerly known as Twitter. The FBI traced the threat through digital footprints and an emergency disclosure request. So what he said on Twitter was, and full disclosures, is violent. He said, "We the people need to paint the town red and kill them all. Fill the morgues and cleanse the city of blacks. By Sunday, we are aiming to have killed 30K. Cincinnati's black population is approximately 120,000, making this a mass murder threat." The FBI believed the threat to be a potential mass murder plot and acted to intervene. Hanna was already known to law enforcement from a prior violent incident. In September 2024, he reportedly threatened to decapitate a woman and did injure her with a sword, prompting investigations. Prosecutors requested that he remain detained, calling him too dangerous to be released while awaiting trial. Now, this is the most funny part about all this shit to me. If convicted, Hanna could face up to 5 years in federal prison. 5 years, y'all. That's it. Now, let me repeat what he said, right? He said that we, right? Whoever he meant when he said we, needed to cleanse the streets of 30,000 black people. Again, Cincinnati's black population is 120,000, making this a mass murder threat. And if convicted, he only gets 5 years. Let's not forget about the prior incident with the sword, right? Where he wanted to play Crouching Tiger and he hurt someone, a woman, with a sword. And still, he only is facing up to 5 years. This is what we're talking about when we say that there's discrepancies and there's unfairness in the government. And when it comes to justice, quote unquote, because we have people who will get arrested with weed on them who get up to 10 to 15 years, right? This man basically threatened to perform a mass murder just blatantly on social media and is only facing 5 years. Straight bullshit. I'm not going to spend much more time on this story. I just felt like it was definitely something to cover, considering he was threatening to kill people who look like me. So to all my listeners in Ohio, just please keep your head on the swivel. You know, that's what we say at the Zay Moore podcast. Keep your head on the swivel. And yeah, I would definitely follow this story because 5 years is not enough for a man who threatened to act out such a huge murder, like mass murder plot, just on Instagram. I mean, on Twitter, and you only facing 5 years is crazy to me, and it would scare me as a black resident of this city or town. So I would just keep an eye on it, y'all. I will also be keeping an eye on it for you, and stay safe out there to all my listeners. All right, all right. So moving on, guys, let's discuss the Jimalita Tillman lawsuit against Shannon Sharp. Y'all remember that, right? We talked about it last episode, or was it the episode before? I forgot. But either way, here's the latest on that situation. A $20 million defamation lawsuit filed by Tillman against Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson and their media company, Shay Media, has been dismissed by a federal court in Chicago. The dismissal was made without awarding fees or costs to either party, and no one is obligated to pay legal fees. Following the ruling, Jimalita Tillman expressed that she is pleased with the outcome. She emphasized that she's looking forward to future positive community engagements with Sharp. I wish him, his family, and his business endeavors continued success, she stated. The case being dismissed means that the legal dispute has come to a close. There was no verdict on the merits, nor a settlement or damages awarded. So I was listening to the Breakfast Club, y'all, and shout out to Lauren LaRosa. She claimed to have an inkling that, she knew that, there was a settlement, or allegedly a settlement that had going on in the background, because, I would just question it being how forceful Tillman was with, getting her justice and putting this out there. And now to say, oh, I'm good with the outcome, but there was no settlement. Come on now. If they settled it behind closed doors, right, and everything was agreed upon with both parties, of course the lawsuit would be dismissed because there would be no reason to take it to trial. If Shannon said, yo, you know what? Here's a little something under the table. Can we just call a spade? Then if I was Tillman, I'd be like, all right, cool. Going to court is a lot of money and it's a lot of energy. So if they were able to settle it behind closed doors, I would have thrown out the lawsuit too. Be like, yo, let's just move on. But Shannon Sharp, again, he needs to take heed to these situations, bro. Watch what you say, watch what you do. Because that's clearly what got you into all of these situations, right? Bad choices, bad choices, bad choices. So just be a little more mindful of what you say, right? And be a little more mindful of what you do. And you can avoid another lawsuit. Can we all agree on that? It's food for thought. I'm just saying. But before we move on, y'all, to the next story, I just gotta tell my people out there, if you out anywhere and somebody start coughing or sneezing, move out the way. I don't care. I don't give a fuck how rude or how mean it may look, because I was in the barber shop and I was getting my cut, right? And there's this homeless guy who comes into the barbershop. The guys are nice to him, because they are really, really nice guys. The barbershop that I go to is just, they have great guys there. So, of course, they let him come in. He sits down, but the guy is dirty. I'm going to just keep it a buck. He's very dirty. He's always coughing like he needs a respirator. It just, grosses me the fuck out. And he came in, and he was sitting, directly in front of me while I'm getting my haircut, right? So it's the chairs where people sit while they waiting, and then it's the chairs where people are sitting getting their haircut, which are, directly in front of each other. And he coughing and, just doing all types of weird sounds or whatever. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, this man, you feel me? And again, I didn't think nothing of it, but 2 days later, here I am feeling sick. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I go to the doctor and they have you been around anyone that's sick? Or I'm like, no, not that I know of. But immediately then I thought back to the dude in the barbershop, and the doctor was like, oh yeah, well, you have strep throat. I'm like, what the fuck? What? Strep throat? She's like, yeah, you can inhale it. If someone coughs or sneezes, and immediately I just, like how you watch in the movie and they do flashbacks. Like my mom just had a bunch of flashbacks to that man sitting there going, And now here I am feeling crazy. So yeah, y'all, I just wanted to punch him real quick and tell y'all how I got under the weather, and just remind y'all, somebody coughing and shit while you out, move out the way, period. And if they look at you crazy, look back at them crazy, like, yeah, I moved out the way because you coughing like you need a doctor. For real. Yeah, man, people out here just coughing. Put on a mask, too. If you know you sick, don't be just out here coughing all willy-nilly. Like, put on a mask. I don't even care if COVID and shit is done. I still see people wearing masks sometimes when I'm out. Join that camp if you know you sick. But don't be out here just chilling as a citizen when you coughing and all of that, getting other people sick. And I have a heart, you feel me? I know that the man who comes into the barbershop is homeless. You know, I know that the guys are just helping him out, whatever. But I also don't want to get sick. Period. I'm standing on it. Fuck out of here. All right, y'all. So let's keep the show going. Let's get this going. Let's talk a little South Park. Season 27's second episode, Got a Nut, debuted on August 6, 2025. The storyline features Mr. Mackey, the school's counselor, who loses his job due to budget cuts and becomes an ICE agent. The episode delivers biting satire, aimed squarely at Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, as well as Trump administration figures like J.D. Vance and Charlie Kirk. Noem is depicted as a glamorized ICE agent obsessed with Botox, whose face grotesquely, and I mean grotesque, y'all gotta see the episode, it grotesquely melts without constant touch-ups throughout the whole show. She is also shown violently shooting puppies, even Superman's dog Crypto, not Crypto, damn, as a dark nod to a real-life story from her memoir. The show stages ICE raids in absurd scenarios like at a Dora the Explorer concert in heaven, and even inside a Mar-a-Lago, highlighting the satire's over-the-top approach. Kristi Noem publicly criticized the episode as lazy and petty, despite admitting she hadn't watched it, accusing critics of attacking women's appearances instead of their work. Tom Homan, a former ICE director, denounced the satire as in bad form and poorly timed, claiming it could even embroider attacks on the ICE agents. So basically, South Park's Got a Nut delivered a blistering, surreal critique of the Trump administration's immigration stance, mocking ICE, Kristi Noem, and others, while fueling a wave of public and official backlash across the spectrum. It's the number one show in the world, by the way, on television. Keep that in mind, too. Trump had said that South Park was not relevant, but again, they are the number one show right now. It was hilarious. I'm going to go really quick to CNN. Yes, it was covered by CNN, so I want y'all to get the story, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it a little bit.
Welcome to the team, recruits. I'm Kristi Noem, head of Homeland Security.
Well, she seems nice. Okay, very pretty.
A few years ago, I had to put my puppy down by shooting it in the face. Because sometimes doing what's important means doing what's hard.
For the residents of South Park, they are not slowing down in their satirical takedown of the Trump administration. They're swinging at some new targets, ICE, and as you saw, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem.
Remember, only detain the brown ones. If it's brown, it goes down. Jesus, look out!
That scene showed ICE raids in heaven, and it ends with Noem shooting a dog. Something she does over and over and over again throughout the episode.
All right, got him!
It's a reference to this line from her book where she writes about killing her untrainable dog, Cricket. Just weeks ago, Paramount was accused of trying to curry favor with the administration. Not now.
No.
They don't need to.
They have the regulatory approval that they need. Paramount, which is the parent company to Comedy Central, and Paramount Plus, which is where South Park airs. And so they don't have to be as careful anymore. But also, you're talking about two of the most iconic free speech advocates in American history with Matt and Trey. These are people who've never wanted to back down, no matter what kind of political pressure.
I want to give you all the background on why Noem shot her dog, because this is just hilarious to me. So, in her 2024 memoir, No Going Back, Noem recounts taking her 14-month wire-haired pointer named Cricket on a peasant hunt. The dog became overly excited, disrupted the hunt, and then attacked the neighbor's chickens, behaving, as she put it, like a trained assassin. When she tried to control Cricket, the dog snapped and attempted to bite her. Noem described the dog as untrainable, dangerous, and less than worthless as a hunting dog. That led her to take the dog to a gravel pit and shoot her. She also had a pet goat that she shot because she deemed it nasty, and it's a little disturbing, right? Because there's ways that you can handle animals that are unruly. You can take it to the pound if you don't want to deal with it anymore. Take it to a trainer who is specialized in that type of situation. But just because you have the right? That's what she was saying. It's legal under the state law to just take an animal and and shoot it. To me, it's crazy. And then when we examine how Homeland Security is carrying out the raids, just rounding people up and throwing them in cages and pulling up on people and ripping them from their homes and their families, their children, it is a little inhumane, right? It's a little mean. It's a little nasty, if you ask me. I'm all for getting rid of the people who are here causing harm to the U.S., but we do have immigrants who are here that are hard workers. We do have immigrants who are here that don't cause any harm. So I don't think that they deserve to be treated that way. So yeah, it is inhumane. And I think that these Kristi Noem stories of how she treated those animals and how Homeland Security is treating immigrants and the whole ICE situation is one and the same. And I think that's what South Park was trying to convey. And they conveyed it in a funny as hell way. So shout out to South Park, because that episode was funny. Y'all got to see it. They even ran up on them, y'all, at a Dora concert. It was a bunch of Latinos at a Dora concert, and ICE ran up on them and was shooting people and shooting dogs at the Dora concert. Then they went up to heaven, and they got all of the Latinos who was in heaven. She was like, if it's brown, they go down. Hilarious. But moving on, guys, moving on. I do have some updates on the tariff situation. So the tariff truce between the U.S. and China established in April expires this week, raising the prospect of renewed trade tensions if no agreement is struck. President Trump is weighing possible tariffs on China, due to its continued import of Russian oil. No final decision has been made yet. The U.S. has raised tariffs on Indian goods to 50%, targeting India's oil ties with Russia. These measures go into effect on August 27th, with exemptions for items already in transit by then. So I thought this was important to report on really quickly because the tariffs are affecting us in three ways, if y'all didn't notice. The average U.S. import tax is 18.6%, which is the highest it's been since 1933. So everyday products like clothes, food, appliances, and electronics are getting more expensive because retailers pass the cost directly to customers. Yale's Budget Lab estimates households will lose about $2,400 in purchasing power per year in the short run. This hits low and middle income families hardest since they spend a bigger share of their income on goods. So yeah, there you have it. There's the updates on tariffs. I will say this, every time I report on what the Trump administration is doing, I get more and more tongue-tied and annoyed and pissed off because this is just a clear, blatant exclusion of the everyday American. If you are in Trump's tax bracket, of course, you're not going to be worried about this. You can pay the extra delivery fee to get something delivered from China. You can pay the extra taxes on groceries and clothes. But we have the everyday American who is already hard enough living off of what is earned. Now we have these tariffs affecting the everyday goods that, people buy. It's whack. And it's just another slap in the face from the Trump administration to the American people. And to me, just a clear statement saying, hey, I really don't care about whatever y'all are going through, what the hell y'all got going on. I'm doing this for me and mine, my class of people. So it's important to stay on top of this, guys, so that you can make the financial changes to combat this, right? You can't beat them, join them. So this is why I say financial literacy and financial wealth is important, because as long as you know what's going on, then you know how to move. That's how I move. As long as I know what's going on, I know how to move to benefit myself. So yeah, it's just another day, another selfish move from the Trump administration. I just wanted to make sure I kept y'all up to date on that. Of course, we're always going to be up to date on what's going on and what's affecting the everyday person. Yes, sir. We in this together because, even let's say those people, right, that are in the tax bracket that this won't affect. What if they don't want to spend the extra money? What if, just because you have money, that doesn't mean you want to spend it. Right? So, yeah, I just think it's a bunch of bullshit. But we'll stay on top of it, y'all. So we got some new music to go over, guys. We got some new releases over the weekend. Let's start with J.I.D. He released his new album, God Does Like Ugly. A highly anticipated album featuring heavyweight collaborators like Clips, Sierra, Vince Staples, Earth Gang, Don Toliver, Ty Dolla $ign, and more. Make sure y'all check out J.I.D. Lyricist, crazy. Next, we got Gunna, The Last One. A cinematic farewell to the YSL Records with a star-studded feature list, including Offset, Wizkid, Burna Boy, and more. We got Young Nudy, the album Paradise. The East Atlanta native returns with bass-heavy, street-infused vibes, y'all. So check out Young Nudy's new project. We got Bryson Tiller. Shout out to Bryson Tiller, one of my favorite artists. The Vices R&B, which is part 1. A double release mixing crooning with rhythmic cadence to revisit the hunger that built his following. And last but not least, we do have Craig David, who released a new R&B album, Commitment, a fresh addition to his discovery. Y'all, his discovery is really impressive, and I want y'all to check him out. I love Craig David. His voice is dope. Yeah, on the movie front, make sure y'all go check out Weapons this weekend. Weapons opened up with about $42.5 million domestically from 3,202 theaters and earned $70 million worldwide, including $27.5 million from international markets. This marks Warner Brothers' 7th #1 opening of 2025, continuing its city of big summer hits. So yeah, y'all, make sure y'all go check out Weapons. I'm a big horror movie fan, so I'm definitely going to find time to go see this, hopefully once I get better, because I still feel crazy, y'all. But make sure y'all go check out Weapons. The Weapons director, Zach Kreger, his last movie, Barbarian, was amazing. I love that movie with Bill Skarsgård. Make sure y'all go check that out as well. But yeah, y'all, that is all the news on the entertainment and music front. But y'all know what that sound means. We have made it to the end of the episode. I want to thank y'all so much for joining me on today's episode of the Zay Moore Podcast. I am gonna go and try and get better, y'all. I still feel sick, to say the least. So I'm gonna go and whip up some tea and get a blanket and relax. But I had to come in today and get to the mic to make sure we recap some of these stories that was going on this week, last week. And of course, make sure I wish y'all a great week coming up. Y'all know we're going to get together on Tuesday. We'll talk about what's trending, and yeah, we'll have some more laughs and fun. But again, thank you so much for tuning into the Zay Moore Podcast. My name is Zay Moore, and until next time, peace.